Joining us now is Kamran Bokhari, founding director at the Center for Global Policy. We thank you for joining us. Well, what does this secret meeting illustrate? Is it reconciliation?
Roxanne, I'm not surprised. Backchannels have always been taking place between the United States and Iran. I mean, there's a long history of it, at least going back to at least 2003. In fact, we can go back to the Iran-Contra affair in the 80s during the Reagan administration when the two sides were communicating. So yes, there's a lot of bluster, bellicose rhetoric, lots of tensions through the strikes on the tankers on the part of the Iranians, a lot of noise from Washington as well. But at the end of the day, neither side wants war, and they need to find a way to get back to the table and to some form of new nuclear deal. At least that's what President Trump wants. And we have the report, in the mainstream media from last week that Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader, has said, yes, we're willing to talk as long as you can remove the sanctions. So I'm not surprised. I mean, there are multiple back channels. Iraq is one, Oman is another one, the Swiss government is another, and then there are bilaterals through businessmen and people who are interlocutors.
Okay, I want to bring up something Christian Millard mentioned in his report just a few minutes ago, talking about the discontent within the IRGC. 125 Iranian officials arrested for espionage. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, I was listening to that report, and it's difficult to say because these are sort of one of those rare moments where we have that many IRGC personnel reportedly being arrested and prosecuted for espionage. Usually it's like a few people here and there. So if this is true, and to the extent that these people were senior members of the IRGC, then it's big news. But so far we have a single report, and we need more confirmation. Again, it's quite possible that there is discontent within the military for a number of reasons, and primarily because the political economy isn't doing well, and there's a lot of resentment. And keep in mind, the Basij militia and the IRGC are from the people, from the public, and they're caught between their oath to the regime and, of course, the suffering of the people. So again, these kind of things can happen. We just need more details as to really understand what is the true nature of this dissent.
Okay, Kamran, these are two nations, as we know, at odds for decades. Did President Trump personally sign off on this meeting? As you said, back channels have been happening. We can go as far back as 2003 and the Iran-Contra. And also, is Iran's supreme leader, we have heard the skepticism that he has expressed in the past. Do you think this is a shift in his position?
I don't think it's a shift. I mean, I think there's a pattern. Public statements are public statements. They're meant to obfuscate reality. That is the business of public relations. So we've seen in the past where, there's a lot of chest beating and, chest thumping that, hey, we're not going to talk, and we have our pride and this and that. But at the end of the day, we've seen negotiations in the past. I mean, the supreme leader has said one thing and the Iranians have done another in actual behavior, which is not surprising. So I think that it's not a shift in their position. I think we need to read between the lines that the posturing is meant to gain leverage and to show your own public and the international community that we're not really caving in. And so if, the President Trump nicks the nuclear deal, then we're not just sort of accepting that, we're having our demands being catered to as well. So this is all part of negotiating tactics.
I want to ask you if you can answer quickly, Kamran. We only have about 30 seconds. Iran's president, Hassan Rouhani, he visited Iraq officially. So how does that play into what we're learning today? Kamran, I'm sorry, we have lost his audio, a little bit of a technical glitch there, but we certainly do appreciate you joining us.